Right, earlier today, things got very heated on The View when Whoopi Goldberg rudely ended a segment with our own Judge Jeanine Pirro, threw her off the set. Take a look.
There have been a lot of people in office that I didn't agree with, but I have never, ever seen anything like this. I've never seen anybody whip up such hate. I've never seen anybody be so dismissive. How long has the deep state been there, and who's running it?
Well, I want to answer your question because you had
you a question.
You had your opening statement, which was how horrible it is that Donald Trump is talking about all of these people.
Sorry,
you know what
that's what you said. You said,
Whoopi, you know what's horrible?
That
when people shouldn't be here end up murdering the children of American citizens.
You know what's horrible?
What's horrible
when the president of the United States whips up people to beat the hell out of people.
No.
Say goodbye.
All right, here now is the author of the brand new book. It's Liars, Leakers, Liberals, the case against the anti-Trump conspiracy. You see her every Saturday night, 9 Eastern, right here on Fox. Hello, Judge Jeanine Pirro. Anything going on in your life today?
You know, I'll tell you, Sean, I got an invitation to go on The View to talk about my new book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals. And I accepted the invitation. I was happy to respond to their request. There was one segment which I thought was rather civil. I mean, they clearly are of a particular bent. But it was in the second segment that you just played, where I literally was thrown off the set. Whoopi Goldberg, basically said, I'm done. She pulled the plug off and walked away. But it didn't end there, Sean. And I think the sad part about all this is that, I said in the first segment, we need to start talking to each other. We need to start having a conversation. People who ostensibly hate each other. And the irony is that I said that about 2 minutes before she started. And I just felt that today was a microcosm of what is happening in America as the left suffers from this Trump derangement syndrome, shuts the right down, doesn't allow you to talk. She asked me a question and then yells at me, yells about Donald Trump, and when I try to answer, she continued to yell. But it didn't end there, Sean. What happened was I realized the segment was over. I got up. And I just started, I left the stage going downstairs and I saw her and I had to walk by her and I said, Whoopi, I fought for victims my whole life, something like that. And she started cursing at me.
What did she say? Tell everybody what she said without saying it.
She said,
blank you.
F you. F you. And I said, Whoopi, did you just say F you? I mean, she was right here. And then she said, get the F out of this building. And she yelled at me again, get the F out of this building. And I felt like I was less than dirt. I couldn't believe that I went there to have a conversation. I got thrown off the set, thrown out of the building. And as I walked away, she's yelling at me, get the F out of this building. Sean, it's sad. What these people have turned into is sad. What is happening?
Well, what's happening is they can't handle that they lost. They can't seem to handle that the world's changed. The worst part, I think, for those on the left is that the president's success is causing them to go even more insane. Because remember, there was supposed to be this big blue tidal wave, but the economy is setting record numbers. I can't wait till the end of next week. I think we get second quarter GDP. Estimates are it's going to be pretty good, maybe even as high as 4%.
Right.
Which, Barack Obama never had in 8 years of his presidency. 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty. Yeah. And the president's getting results. But there's no doubt it's a divided country. I've known Whoopi for years. I've watched the show. Frankly, it's become unwatchable. The ratings are way, way down from what it used to be. And the fact that they can't have a civil conversation with you is part of the reason.
Well, Sean, I have co-hosted that show in the past. And during the break between the first and second segment, I looked over at Whoopi and I said, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. And I said, are you still doing something that we used to do together? And she said no. And then I turned to Ana Navarro from CNN. No one told me someone from CNN was going to be a host, which I thought was kind of fascinating.
I hope you said fake news.
And, I tried a conversation to have and all of a sudden, when we came back into the second block, it was all hell broke loose. And I have to tell you, Sean, we deserve better. We deserve better than to be berated because we may
Judge,
support the president.
Judge, look at what happened to Pam Bondi, Secretary Nielsen, Sarah Sanders.
Yep.
Look at the covers that I just showed our audience in my opening monologue tonight. Severed heads, dead presidents at the end of escalators now. It is, the left is unhinged. They don't have a plan to offer the American people. All they have is innuendo, name calling, the typical playbook, racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. They don't have any agenda to improve the lives of people.
But
it's not a good time to be a Democrat.
The scary part is people are going to think this is normal. You know, I wasn't just in a restaurant. I was invited to go there and speak. This is where people start to copy what other people are doing. And what Americans
It's getting dangerous out there.
Yeah.
It's getting dangerous for a lot of people. Everybody needs to take a deep breath. And you know what? There's an election coming up. Focus on the next election.
Right. And
Focus on your candidate, and maybe I don't even want, don't change. Just keep being as dumb as they are. That'll be perfect. All right, Judge, I'm sorry you went through that. Thanks for sharing it. You didn't deserve it. By the way, the book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals, is out in bookstores. Anyway, when we come back, President Trump loving that Joe Biden, crazy Uncle Joe, might run against him in 2020. I happen to be all for it.